good to go? Yeah?
Yo.
All right. How's everyone doing? It's not even
Oli, 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 oi. But you can't
going
do
on?
that
What's
right
going
now.
on?
It's not on.
Is everyone ready?
Everyone all right? Right.
Can we get some noise in the back? Way in the back. Is everyone ready? Yeah?
But
Come on, come on.
You know what? True say, we can't do the audience thing right now because.
They can't hear us.
Hey, big up. If you're streaming right now, you're done though. You're done though. Big up yourself. Make sure you like, subscribe,
Come on.
and follow.
Come
The
on.
logo will be here somewhere.
All right, come. Let's
And if it's not there, it is the Mandem Read
Yeah, yeah.
on Instagram
I will be.
and YouTube. Yeah.
Right, so start introducing myself. I'll go by the name of East, and I'm part of the Mandem Read podcast. It's about reading books, basically. I'm here with the members.
You're done though. It's your boy B, aka Blessing, and I'm here with the team. Obviously, we are the Mandem Read, as Pat says. You know, as E said. You know what I'm saying? What we do is essentially read books and try educate people who might not want to read books and try give them more, I don't know, more motivational stuff or insight to different things. You know what I'm saying? And then in a sense, we educate ourselves as well when we're podding as well. So yeah.
So we got
Large up.
Blessing, we got Jay.
You got Jay, Jamal, Kennedy. As the guy said, we read books, review books, all types of books.
Right.
So we're not limited to any kind of type of book.
Right.
So self-help books, financial books. There's like 350 million books in the world. So there's so much content,
So much to do from.
and we take recommendations. So if you DM us on Instagram, you can just let us know what kind of books you want us to review.
Yeah.
You can even review the books with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the future, we're hoping to have more live events, more interaction, running competition, merchandise,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, just so you can feel a part of the Mandem Read kind of thing.
So I'm gonna say why I joined the
So,
group.
so before you get into that quickly, yeah,
What's up?
I've got to introduce. We've got a special guest today. Usually it's usually the Mandem Read. You know what I'm saying? But today we're joined
gonna hold
by
it,
the one and only Rene Germain. Do you know what I'm saying? We got big up Rene Germain. She's the author of Black and Great, and right now she's looking black and great. Do you know what I'm saying? So I must
Come
say
Yes,
that.
yes.
So big up Rene Germain. I don't know if you want
Come
to say two things for the people them there.
Thank you so much. Like, what an introduction. And yeah, I'm super buzzing to be here. I love what the Mandem Reads is doing with the podcast and the platform. So yeah, I can't wait to get into our conversation.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna get into why we chose the concept of the Mandem Read, why I joined. So basically, I joined because looking at black and mixed heritages, the representation in media, we're getting a lot of representation in media currently, but we find that we always have stereotypical roles. So we chose to use the Mandem Read as a platform to celebrate people in niche markets that haven't been celebrated or looked at before, to inspire other people in the same sort of genres and other people that are black and mixed of heritage. Most of our guests are authors, entrepreneurs, or established people in whatever industry they're into.
Big up Rene.
Just like Rene.
Big up Rene.
Big up Rene.
Live.
I got a tear in my
I'm a
eye.
fan. I'm sorry.
You're emotional, yeah?
I'm getting
You
emotional.
want to take over?
So yeah, we chose the book theme to kind of inspire, challenge, and empower our audience, and to kind of changing the narrative of this, the stereotypical imagery that you see of us. Like I said, obviously we got Jay, Blessing, and Rene here. So we've done about eight episodes now with the sound bank.
And we've got 3 online, so you can view those 3 on our YouTube channel,
Yeah,
which is the Mandem Read.
the Mandem Read.
It's the same as the Instagram, even TikTok. We're trying to hit all social medias. And as E said, it's just about showing a positive light on the Mandem. And that's more or less why we chose the name as well. Like the Mandem. Like it can be cool to read books and
And the
review
Gallum as well.
Yeah.
We should have changed the narrative, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a positive thing.
And at the same time, you can make it fun. You can make it cool.
Yeah.
And even though we're from like the same background, we've got different personalities.
Yeah.
on our episodes, you're going to see it shine throughout the episodes. Like we have a little banter, little jokes, but the overall message of the actual show is just to push the like a new stereotype, a new what's the word I'm looking for? Narrative. Yeah.
Yeah. This is our first live podcast,
Yeah.
by the way.
So
big up us.
Whoop, whoop.
yeah.
Come on.
I'm gonna jump in there right quickly. Obviously, we've got a guest here today, and I have to ask Rene, do you enjoy reading, by the way? Obviously, you're an author. I was wondering, is it like reading one of your pastimes or whatnot?
Yeah, I love reading. Like growing up, I was always all the reading challenges in school. I'd always be the first person to finish. I even found like my school certificates recently when I moved. Obviously, during the process of writing the book, I didn't have that much time to really read other things. But since I finished writing the book, I've done nothing but just read book after book after book. So yeah, love reading.
Okay. That's good.
I was going to quickly say why I got involved with the Mandem Read.
Yeah.
So basically, the last time I read a book was like proper dedicating my time to a book was like in school. I've got a low attention span when it comes to like reading.
Fair is the same.
Yeah, I'm more of a visuals man, like a films, that kind of thing. So this is an opportunity for me to get to reading again, different types of books, and by force, reviewing a book for the next episode. So I benefit from it a lot.
100%.
Yeah.
I have as well, to be honest. The books that we read have really like expanded my mind. How about you guys?
No, it's been good because obviously with the lads and that we read like various different books. For me myself, I'm a bit of a reader myself, but like I'm like a man who's into the novels and the period dramas. You get me? Like I can read a Bridgerton. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm an escape
Where I watch
kind
it.
of guy. So
I wouldn't
obviously,
even watch it, but yeah.
but obviously with the Mandem, they're into like self-help books. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Black and Great, Essence. And I'm now converted now because I'm black and I'm great. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, but like I was saying, so I'm literally learning things, like I'm learning about habits and things like that from books, because it's I feel like maybe I don't know if it's a dying art, because obviously we've got social media all the time, we all the time, so I think like people don't take
Good phrase to put.
yeah, so no one takes much time to sit there and read, but I feel like books are such, I don't know, it's like watching a film but better, because you're making up the scenes in your head. You know what I'm saying? You can see the pictures there.
It's your own when you read, it's your own interpretation in your head.
Exactly. So that's what I'm getting out of the podcast. I'm learning a lot of stuff about myself. We've done relationship books, by the way, like about our relationship styles. Have you read Attached by any chance? Attached?
No, I haven't read that.
I'll say this is random. It's off topic right now, but just throw a babe in there. But obviously Attached is like a book we read, which is basically essentially about different types of relationship styles that we have in relationships. You could be bloody blah blah bloody blah blah. And then you know what? Like books like that, or 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, or The Power of Being Broke. If you don't really think about your life really and truly, because most people just live. We don't really take time to like sit and meditate about what we do. So maybe realize who I am in a relationship, for example, and
Good stuff.
how I spend my money, how to make more. You know what I mean? So like, I feel you can benefit from books. Essentially,
I've got a quick question for Rene. You see the book, the style of the book, and the way it's structured. You got the interviews, you got the resource section. What's the style? What type of book is it?
Let's talk about the book.
You know how you have
Enough about us now.
yeah, like
Talk about the book. Can you elaborate on the book for us?
like a little synopsis of the book and the style of the book and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously, Black and Great, the Essential Workplace Toolkit. It's a careers book for black students and professionals, and I wrote it really I started to write it at a time when I had just graduated out of university, and I felt like there wasn't any literature that was addressing the unique challenges that black people face in the workplace, but also wasn't really inspiring black people. So the book is kind of part like inspirational in the sense of you've got all these amazing black British contributors from various different fields, whether it's medicine, tech, finance, and all these industries, but I also wanted it to be a book that was helpful. I didn't just want to say like, oh, these are all the issues that black people face at work, without actually being able to provide what I think are solutions which work for myself. And also give people resources that they can once they've read it, think about using and would help them. So I wanted it to be like a bit of a self-help book, but also an inspirational book for black people, whether you're a student or whether you're in your career.
And what inspired you to write the book? Like, why is this book needed?
Yeah, good question. So when I was writing the book, I was like, I think I just graduated from uni. I'd been in the workplace for a year after graduating from uni, so it was 2017. And I was going through all these things in the workplace as a young black woman. I was seeing other black people in the workplace go through these things. And I started to blog about things. I think my first ever blog on Medium was how to be your authentic self in the workplace. So I think I was struggling with that. How can I be myself in an environment where there's no one really that looks like me or is from my background? And the more I started to write, the more I would get black students and professionals asking me for more questions, reaching out to me on LinkedIn, wanting me to put in more time. So I remember I wrote about how to negotiate your salary. And I wrote that after I had negotiated my salary. And I wrote about how to make a career pivot. And I wrote that after pivoting from banking to tech. And I had more and more black people just constantly reaching out. And I realized that actually there's not really anything out there that caters to our community and that takes into account some of the specific challenges that we face that aren't necessarily workplace related, whether it's things from our education at school where we're put in lower sets, whether it's from imposter syndrome, from feeling like we're not good enough. And I wanted to bring that kind of societal context into the workplace, which I think, you know, they're definitely intrinsically interlinked.
Sorry, just to interject there, yeah? You said something very key. I was having a conversation with some of my friends recently. I was like you said something about lower sets, getting put in a lower set.
Yeah.
So essentially, like from my experience, when I was in school, I was like thrown into like the bottom sets. Obviously, I'm not set A, but like I'm definitely set 2. But yeah, get me. But yeah, so I was flung in those kind of places. Yeah. I don't know, maybe because my behavior or the way they perceive me, the teachers. Because remember, the teachers are coming from like way they don't really know and deal with like energetic people of color, essentially BAME people them. But then the interesting thing about that is like when you grow up, like being put in the bottom set, it kind of shapes you essentially because you're in the bottom set with probably people with behavioral problems and like mad attitudes, and then they become your close friends because you spend your time around them. So when you grow up and then you go to school and you come out of school, you're chilling with the man them who aren't motivated, if that makes sense. You're just like, yo, I'm with the man them, school's dead. But then I've got a little brother as well, sorry about my life story here, but he's now qualified to become like a doctor, innit? But in school, he was in top sets, so obviously all his friends were like around him. So you know, like, huh?
Well to do.
Isn't it? They're all like, I want to get good grades, I want to, whatever, do well, and essentially like career-wise, not just be like, education's not cool. So I think that's a very important topic you touched on as well. You know what I mean? Like,
So just based on the book, like it's a compilation of different experiences from black professionals. You've got interviews from Ashley Walters, a mathematician called Naira Chamberlain, PhD, MBE. MBE. You've got Jamelia. So what was the process in putting the book together? And was it, actually I got like 4 questions in one. What was the process in putting the book together? What were the challenges? And what did you enjoy the most about putting the book together?
Oh, lots of questions. So
Yeah, lots of questions in one.
So in terms of putting the book together, I always knew that I was going to write some chapters, and then there was also going to be people that I wanted to contribute, and I knew that I wanted them to be from different industries. So I started with like an Excel spreadsheet, and I put loads of people's names in it. There must have been like 100 people. Obviously some people who are from corporate professions and some that are like, you know, celebrities. So I was reaching out to a lot of like the corporate professionals on LinkedIn, adding them, telling them, and at this point there wasn't a book, it was literally just an idea. I didn't have an agent, I didn't have a publisher, it was just this is the idea I have for a book, right? And then when it came to like some of the more well-known names, I was scrolling through talent management websites for hours looking for their agents' names. I was going on Instagram, Twitter, looking in their bio for their contact email. I became a stalker. I was going through Twitter conversations, looking in the tweets and replies to see if someone had dropped an email. And yeah, I was just sending emails, sending LinkedIn requests, and that's kind of how I managed to get a lot of them involved. And even some of the people that were ignoring my emails, I was actually going to events where they were at. So I remember I was at work one day and I was on Twitter, and one of my contributors had an event at Apple in Covent Garden. And I literally left my desk and I went to Covent Garden. I just said to my manager, I have to go. I went to Covent Garden. I sat in this like acting workshop, which I had no interest in being in. And this person came up to me and he was like, "Do you need help?" And I was like, "I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm not interested in your workshop. I've just been emailing you for 6 months." And he literally started laughing and was like, "My PA's over there. Can you like message her?" And then, yeah, so it was a mixture of, I just had to be, I guess, I don't say like hustle, but I had to hustle. I had to really like persuade people.
You have to
that this
persist
idea,
as well, innit?
Yeah, perseverance. Some people didn't reply to me for months upon months.
But then did eventually.
They did eventually, and I had to, a lot of people were like, "Why did you keep emailing? Why didn't you just take the airtime?" And I was like, no, because there was something inside of me that deep down said, when they actually read my email, they'll want to be part of my book. I know that sounds a bit, I don't know, it's probably a bit like,
Sounds very egotistical. But
yeah, it sounds a bit egotistical, but I had to believe in myself.
I understand, of course.
Sorry, it's a quick question. When did you graduate from university?
Yeah, 2016.
2016. So, for me, like, it makes me quite. I don't know if you went through like college, uni, all at once. So
Yes.
You're telling you're quite young, essentially.
I'm 29, so I did a gap year before going from college to university.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, in the book we read, we read, it's like you come from a family where like they're quite encouraging about education and whatnot. I mean, obviously you've done the university route, you came out of university, and now you're out here, and then you're very conscious as well, because obviously you could just be out here and working in a mad job and just doing your thing. Like, what made you want to like, essentially, I'll put it asking what he asked. What made you like want to say, you know what? Yo, I'm doing alright in life here, but like, I need to like help others. Like, what made you want to essentially pull up people from the upper bucket in a sense? Like, how did that? What was your like thought process?
I don't know. I think I'm always somebody that has always done more than one thing. So even alongside my day job, I had an online shop that I had to pause, which was called BLK Great, where I sold like merchandise and stuff.
Yeah.
When I was younger, alongside my studies, I used to like write poems and even write my own like one-person plays alongside my school and stuff.
Quite creative.
I've always been a little bit creative, yeah. And so with the book, I think it was different. I don't know that I just wanted to do something different. I think I just felt like people needed it. Like, I can't explain it. I feel like the more and more conversation I had, the more and more people that are reaching out to me, I was like,
It was the feedback then.
yeah, it was the feedback.
Yeah.
It was the feedback, and I was like, you know what? It's really hard actually to keep replying to individual people. Let me just actually put one thing out there, and then everyone can just access it, and it will answer a lot of the questions that I felt people were asking me.
Speaking of your process and stuff, and how determined and how much hustle you had, I noticed that in the book, a few of the people mentioned having a mentor a lot. Is that like a major thing? Do you think that's important?
Yeah, so I think I spoke about it. The reason why I think I mentioned mentoring in my book was because for a long time I just thought it was so cliche. Like, people always talk in the workplace about have a mentor, and I thought it was corny. Like, and I know it sounds, I think also it came from a place of, I don't know if it's a black thing, or I just come from a place of like, if I want to do something, I'm just going to do it myself. I don't want nobody helping me. I don't want no one being able to say, well, I did this for Rene, blah, blah, blah. If I'm going to do X, it's going to be me. And I think
Is it more about the recognition, or
sometimes it's just that I feel like sometimes when people like help you with stuff, they want to sometimes take credit and they want to act like they did more than they did when they didn't. And so for me, I was always like a, not individual person, but I was like, anything I want to do, it's going to be me that does it. And I think when I came into the workplace, I very quickly realized if you want to, not even if you go far at work and anything you do really in life, you need the help of other people. Like, I think I put in the chapter, it takes a village. And I think I started to realize that in work when I was kind of just doing my own thing. And I think my managers and myself realized that she's really good. And I knew I was really good, but I'm not going as far as I can. I'm not getting to that next level. And I needed someone else to support me. And the minute I got a mentor and I saw how helpful that mentor was, I was like, now I get it. I get why people harp on about it. And I think when I started to do a lot of the research and things around not just mentors, but sponsors, more senior people that can elevate your career, and the sponsors that I had in my own career, I was like, okay, I have to talk about it, because I think a lot of us sometimes have that. We hear, you need a mentor, you need a sponsor at work, and we don't actually realize how important it is. It just sounds a bit blah.
so you do admit that it is important,
Yeah,
it
massively.
helps out a lot.
Massively.
So
Can I ask a quick? Sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
Off, Jay, sorry. I mean, I think mentorship. I've seen a lot about it, and I know a lot about it. What's the process that goes into finding a mentor? How do you even go about it? For example, some of the
Good
industry.
question.
I just want to wonder, how does like the mentorship go?
I think there's different ways, right? My manager recommended my mentor. And so that was something that I didn't really have to put any work into doing. He was like, I know a guy that I think will be a good mentor for you. But also there's like at work, sometimes there's mentorship programs.
Okay.
So there's actually programs where they're like, hey, if you want to get a mentor, sign up. And this is becoming more common now in a lot of corporate organizations, even creative industries, where they're just like, okay, we know that, we acknowledge that there's not that many black people in this space, or there's not many black people progressing. Sign up to this program and we'll get you a mentor. Sometimes it can just be reaching out to people, right? Just reaching out to people that you find that you think, okay, they're in the same industry as me, they're in the level that I want to get to, they have an expertise or skill that I kind of also want to gain, just reaching out to them. So I think there's different ways.
So, but how do you build that relationship where it's like, you're my mentor? Like, what's the exchange?
And I think I mentioned, when you're building a relationship with a mentor, it can't just be one-sided. It can't just be you constantly asking for someone to help you with things. I think you also have to be the person that says, hey, is there anything I can help you with? Or hey, do you need me to help you put this together? Do you need me to spread a word about this initiative that you're doing? If your mentor, I don't know, wins awards and things, then posting it, sharing about it, cheering them in the way that they cheer you. So I think for that relationship to be solid, and I think for any relationship in your career to be solid, it has to be two-way. You can't just suck the life out of someone else.
Yeah.
So based on that, my question is based on the first chapter of the book, or the first chapter. So we were saying it's like it's our favorite part of the book, where you talk about imposter syndrome.
Biggest facts.
So for those who don't know, imposter syndrome is when you've got the skills, you've got the talent in a particular field, but you feel like you don't belong. This could be for various reasons. So I was going to ask you, when you on your journey to becoming an author and writing a book, even reaching out to people, did you have any imposter syndrome?
Big imposter syndrome.
And can you in your words, can you describe what imposter syndrome is?
Yeah, I think imposter syndrome, similar to what you said, is like that feeling of not being good enough, not belonging, and it's rooted in this idea that you think that people are going to find out that you don't have the skills and the abilities and the capabilities that you say you do. And so it kind of just holds you back in many ways.
So you're always doubting yourself?
Always doubting yourself, always second-guessing yourself. You're never wanting to say things like, you're never going to admit you're wavy, you'll just say, I'm just lucky. Like, everything's just like, oh yeah, it's just luck. Like, oh, it's, you're never going to be like, no, like, I did that, I worked hard for it. You're always going to put it down to someone else. Or no, it wasn't really me, it was so-and-so that done it. Like, you're always deflecting. You're never really owning, like, your true capabilities. And because you're scared that if you do, and I found this, someone might pick your brain and you might not really know it. But actually, that's okay if you don't know it. Being good at what you do, whatever it is, it doesn't mean you know everything. It doesn't mean you're necessarily the best. It doesn't mean there still isn't room for you to grow. But when you have imposter syndrome, every little thing, things like, damn, like I'm going to be found out, I'm going to be exposed.
So did you feel that when you're reaching out to these your interviews, thinking, oh, why are they going to do the interview with me? Who am I? And this is your first book as well.
Yeah,
so
I had a lot of imposter syndrome just because I think I'm a really observant person, and like there's a lot of writers that obviously they write alongside their day job, but there's also a lot of career writers that do it full time, right? And so I just started to feel like maybe I'm not really a writer because this isn't my full-time hustle. This is just something alongside my job that I do. And I also felt a bit of imposter syndrome, which might sound silly, writing a non-fiction book. I think fiction books are quite popular, they're very, well publicized, and not that non-fiction books aren't, but I felt like a bit of imposter syndrome writing a non-fiction book on careers. People might look at me and think, hold on, she only graduated 6 years ago. Who the hell is she to write a careers book? What does she know about careers? Who the hell is she to interview these people? Like, she ain't like an interviewer, she ain't, do you know what I mean? So I definitely had imposter syndrome.
So, sorry, one more, with that being said, like reports say that minorities are more vulnerable to imposter syndrome, and I also this is probably because like the lack of representation, whether it be in the media, whether it be in the fields. For example, Naira Chamberlain, one of the interviews in your book, he was told by his teacher growing up that no, you don't want to do maths, you should be a boxer.
Yeah.
So like that's like the stereotypical way of saying. You're black, you're strong, you should be doing something physical. But then it was only when his dad said, no, you don't need approval from anyone. And then that's when he that's when he dedicated his life to studying maths. So it's the lack of representation and the lack of support which causes imposter syndrome.
Yeah, it's definitely those things, and I think education. I think I spoke about it before. You spoke about it before. When you're in school, right? When you're always being under predicted grades, when you're being placed in lower set, we know that Black Caribbean students are like 5 times more likely than other students in certain parts of the UK to be excluded. When you're constantly being told directly and indirectly you're not good enough, you don't belong in our school, you don't belong in the top sets, you're not really educated, those things stay with you. They don't necessarily leave. And then again, you know, you see the media, and I think I talk about in the book, right? I remember during during Black Lives Matter, you had that Michael Richards, the football commentator.
Yeah.
People were saying you only got the commentary job, the pundit job.
Tokenism.
Alison Hammond with This Morning, they ticked a diversity box. Alex Scott as well, the female footballer. It just kept coming and coming. Black people getting these opportunities. People that actually had been grinding for years, who have the receipts and some to do what they're doing, and people had the cheek to then say, you're only getting it because you're black. And as a black person watching that and seeing that, of course you're going to start to feel like raw. Like.
So bless and East, have you lot ever experienced imposter syndrome?
I'm not going to lie, I think I got too much ego for that.
Yeah?
Love that.
Like not
Real G shit.
I'm just be like, even if I don't do enough, I'll be like, but like, it's me.
Love that.
I think I just got too much ego. Not in a good way.
Oh, it's fine.
I rate it still. You know what? I haven't experienced it because I work for like in a bit of a corporate role. Essentially, I work for like you know what I mean, all that 9 to 5 business. So so recently, I was interviewing for like time. I had like 8 interviews like lined up, and then I kept like getting rejected. And then one thing that was like messing with me was like I had to speak to my good friend. I can't say his name, but like shout him out there. But anyway, my Benjamin was like to me. I was like to him, bro, like I'm having interviews here, but I'm trying to talk like I'm like a public school boy, like you know, hello, nice to meet you. My name's Blessing.
Are you trying to change?
All of that business here. But it's like he's like to me, brother, like when you get the job, you'll be working with people. You're not gonna be speaking like that every single day of the week, so you're gonna slip up. But obviously, I'm thinking like it's the way I speak or way I come across. I'm not fitting in essentially, and then. Which is, I think, is a quite important thing to say right now, yeah, for anyone that's watching this who feels like the way you speak might hinder you when it comes to getting a job and stuff. Like, especially if you're black and you've got like a bit of a regional accent. Let's say you've got a London accent, which is nothing because we are the capital of this country, so you got accents, not us. But anyway, like I was saying, yeah. So, the thing I would say is that when you get to these workplaces, you've got to remember to yourself, like the way you speak, you said in your book as well, it's about you have to be yourself. You actually, like, it's important to be yourself and be who you are. Because people will gravitate you for being original. And 2, we go to these mad places here, we try to speak the Queen's English and whatnot. But you get like people from like Liverpool, Manchester coming and be like, yeah, right, mate. And they're not like pushing up themselves to fit in. So like, obviously I know fitting in is important, but like, don't sell yourself out. And you can still do a great job speaking the way you speak. Obviously, don't do the slang on the madness, but like, remember, everybody's got a regional accent. Everybody speaks the way they speak, and we shouldn't think just because we speak how we speak is black. Or that's what I thought. You know, I'm coming across a bit hood. It's not hood. Yeah. It's actually just where I grew up and how I speak. It's exactly what it is. And I think when it comes to imposter syndrome, that was one of my biggest like challenges. It's like, damn it, man, I want to speak like Prince William, but I can't. I can't talk about. You know, I can't do it. You know what I'm saying?
You won't match.
You know what I'm saying? I'm an apples and pears kind of man. You know what I'm saying? You got up the stairs and that. You know what I'm saying? That's who I am. And at work, I'm gonna do that.
No, I hear that.
In fact,
jumping off of that, like, say for example, at interviews that you go to, did you ever feel like you were getting two phrases that you used in the book, which I found interesting? One I already know, gaslighting, right, at work. So I read the section about work at black?
Oh yeah.
Chapter 7.
Yeah, I think it's like black at work.
Black at work.
Yeah, black at
I
work.
didn't want to say it the wrong way around.
No, it's fine, it's fine.
Going back and forth. So there was 2 phrases that you used in that section: gaslighting and microaggressions.
Aggressions, yeah.
I've never heard that term before.
Yeah, so like
Break down.
microaggressions, it's like another phrase that gets used to describe them are called death by a thousand cuts.
Yeah.
And it's basically these slights, these small slights, whether it's comments or actions that are deemed to be, well, racial microaggressions that have a racial undertone that are meant to hurt you.
Is it, for example, would one be like, yeah, Jamal, you like chicken, right?
Yeah, so it could be stuff like that. It could be like you like chicken, or it could be
I know
like.
I know you.
How'd you answer that question? How'd you answer that? Do you like chicken?
Yeah,
Or what you said earlier with you should do boxing
that's a microaggression.
instead of doing the
But see that context here, it was said to a kid, isn't it? So I don't think kids understand what's happening to them.
But this is at work.
No, I think
Yeah,
the kid was at work when the teacher told him he can be a boxer.
Yeah, that's when he was in school.
yeah.
15.
But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, so my question's a bit mad. Because, for example, do you like chicken? It's not offensive, but you know it is.
It's when it's being said
But
to you though.
But you can't say, are you asking me?
Yeah,
like chicken 'cause I'm
exactly.
black?
But that's literally it, and that's the thing about microaggressions which makes it hard. It's the fact that you know it's happening to you because you're black, but you don't feel comfortable, and you can't really say, "Are you saying it to me because I'm black?" Because
And-
then it's an issue, right?
And especially because of the way it's said,
Exactly.
you can't. You can't really. Well, you can, but
Well, that's the thing. So in that
it's hard to
chapter,
confront it, kind of thing.
Charlene Brown, she's the founder of this amazing organization
Yeah.
that does training, Howlett Brown, but does training with organizations around some of these topics, and she's also an employment lawyer, and she speaks about the fact that the problem with microaggressions is that you can't prove that harm was intended, and therefore it's not really something you can, like, even if you go to HR, even if you wanted to take action against it, you can't prove that someone was trying to be harmful. Even if somebody's asking you every day if you like chicken, or they're saying to you, but where are you really from? And
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
or speaking to you in like a fake African dialect, they could just be like, that's banter. But do you know what I mean? Like,
Are you man fast runners?
Yeah. Oh
yeah, stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't prove
I
that
bet,
it's negative.
I bet you're gonna win the 100 meters, right? Yeah, like that.
Exactly.
Or have you ever had, it's this one when like people come up to you and start talking about like, what do you think of George Floyd, or something like that. Bring up conversations like that. Do you know
Or
what I mean?
they'd be like, oh my God, like, what do you think over that? You see Kanye moving mad, like, what do you think? And it's a bit like, am I his mate? Like,
I actually had that at work, like,
I know him.
like
Do I know
like Jamal, listen to that new drill album, that kind of thing, like that. Well, you know what? Also, explain the like the word gaslighting. I've heard it for years and it's thrown around, but many people have their own different like meanings, and it's been thrown around so many times that people don't even use it in the right way. So what's your
I
definition
think
of?
when I think of gaslighting, I think of when things are like done to you in the workplace, and then you're being made to feel like you're the issue. So it's like, I'm explaining to you how I feel about, I don't know, the issue of race, and you're then telling me, like, why is everything about race? Like, why are you gaslighting me? Like, why are you making me feel that my genuine issue is now you're victimizing, you're making yourself a victim by saying, why is everything about race? Why are you doing all of this? So for me, gaslighting is when people, they almost like flip the switch on you a bit when you're kind of
100%.
raising something.
So is it
and
like,
then they flip it
Make
on
you feel like you're mad.
is
to
it like
make
when
you feel
people
like you're a bit
say,
mad.
oh, why are you pulling the? I might be off. Like when people say, oh, why are you pulling the race card? Is that
Yeah,
that one?
stuff like that. Why you putting the race card, or
Yeah,
like they're making you doubt yourself,
Yeah,
or like
yeah.
you start to then question. You'll say something, they'll react, and you start thinking, "Am I going mad? Like, did that really
Yeah, yeah,
happen?" You start basically double checking and double downing on something which you know.
It's worked on your mental health.
Yeah, massive mental health
think
impact.
we have to normalize punch-ups in the workplace. Yo, ask me about chicken one more
I
time.
don't co-sign this.
Yeah?
I
I'm gonna
don't
give you
co-sign.
a swift hook. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Listen,
This guy.
you can be guessing it, yeah? And you can go home and look in the mirror and be like, I took that. Why are you asking about my food again? Why is he doing this? Why
Everyone,
is he asking me for
everyone
flowers?
should be allowed one hit at work, yeah.
Hey, listen,
I just one a year.
a little one pot. I'm joking, man. Don't do this, by the way. Don't do what I would do.
Yeah,
I would never do that either. I'm joking, but yeah. No violence in the workplace, but yeah.
I've got another question. These are all, again, part of the Black at Work section.
Yep.
Halo code.
Yeah.
What's
You
that?
heard of the Halo code?
Yeah.
So that's basically.
Sorry, say that slowly for the viewers.
Halo.
Halo code.
What is that? Sorry.
So that's basically to do with
Well, why
Is
did
it
you
just
laugh
mainly
at that?
all
I know.
women?
I saw someone I know.
Oh, right.
Okay, come on. Is that basically for? It's not only for women. It's just for people with
Yeah,
textured hair.
it's an organisation that created this code in the UK. They're called the Halo Code to address the hair discrimination in the workplace against people with Afro hair.
Yeah.
So it's not just black women; it's also black men as well. We know that in the US, I think there was a Crown Act that was passed around discrimination against the hair in the workplace. I think that might have been in certain states. It's just a time when like there was a lot of stuff on the media and on social media about people being made to like cut their dreadlocks off before they can actually participate in sport.
Kids at school,
People in the workplace, like
crazy.
people touching your hair, people being asked to like change their hair.
But you know what? Yeah, aren't we like the biggest? Because like, if let's say I had dreads, like, or let's say someone else had dreads and they're going for a new interview, like their mum or their dad is going to tell them, no, you need to cut your hair to kind of fit in, to conform.
So you think we police ourselves?
Yeah, from my experience and what I've seen, I've seen it in the workplace anyway. But I know a lot of as you said, we police ourselves, and.
But you think that's due to, the outcomes that we get when we're at work?
Yeah, that is due to that.
Yeah.
But
it's like we're trying to look out. For
Yeah.
even though we shouldn't have to.
Yeah, but in this day and age, like I recently cut my hair.
Yeah.
But before I work in like IT in an accountancy firm, and I was going in with my hair long, plaits, cane rows, and stuff.
They ain't saying anything.
Oh yeah, but no, they like my hair. But is this a form of microaggression? I'm just going out on a limb. Oh, I liked your hair the way it was. Bring
Did
it
they
back.
touch it,
like
though?
that. No one touched my hair. No one touched my
So
hair.
you look like Usher.
No.
All right. Okay. Cool.
But is that like a form of,
I don't know. I think
you know when people goo gaga over your hair and
I think it's a thing where again, like, I just feel like if someone else in the office, if Becky chops her hair, or if Michael goes from black hair to blonde hair, they're not gonna comment. But I feel like when it's us, they're gonna comment. So I feel like, why is it my hair changing? That's a comment. So
and by the way, I didn't cut my hair because no one told me to.
no, it's
Because
fine.
I got tired of it. I cut-
He said, "Yo," HR said to him, "Jamal, you look a bit too black."
No.
Hey, stop that. I'm joking. Sorry.
That's.
I've got another question. So there's a section of the book called Battling Stereotypes, right? Where there's a few quotes. I think I'm going to read the quote exactly as you wrote it. So then you can explain what this means.
Oh God.
So there's a section in the book called Battling Stereotypes. It's basically different stereotypes that black people have in the workplace. One of the stereotypes is chocolate king privileges. Matt. Right, so start quote.
A man said, "Start quote."
There's a certain demographic in the workplace that sexualize the hell out of black men. Full stop. They dream of having kids that look like Kim Kardashians, and whilst they have all the attitude in the work towards our good sisters, Adiola, and Rene,
Ronke.
their voice suddenly becomes high-pitched, and they go all googly-eyed for Marvin and Jamal.
Jay in the corners there still.
No.
They're doing bits, bro.
They're the allies.
No.
They're the allies that went to the Black Lives Matter. This is the part I want to highlight. They're the allies that went to the Black Lives Matter protest and with signs that said, "I love black."
Dick. No homo. Shit.
So you will hear me speak
Yes.
and stop shooting black men. BBC matters.
So hold on, that was a quote from the book.
That's a quote straight direct.
Yeah, from
I
Rene's
said it.
Rene's
That's
mouth.
a
Yeah.
mad thing, you know.
I just want you to.
That is fucking racist,
I
man.
just want you to go in on that and
Yeah.
explain where that's coming from.
Yeah, for sure. So I think there were so many examples. I spoke about stereotypes that alluded to black women, right? And that was easier for me to probably talk about because I'm a black woman, and yeah, I could talk to those things.
There was one earlier that was angry black women. As
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think the black men one just came from a place of, I think black women and black men, I think certain stereotypes and certain things advantage some groups and disadvantage some groups.
Right.
And I think when I was thinking about black men, not that black men don't struggle in the workplace,
Right.
but they're not seen through a lens of, black women aren't seen through a lens of desirability. Okay, like
So
in the workplace.
So you're saying
Whereas
black men have more privileges in the workplace than
no,
black
no,
women?
I think in this particular context,
Okay,
in terms
yeah.
of desirability, I don't think black women in the workplace necessarily have that privilege of desirability in the way that black men do in the eyes of white women.
So do you mean, are you talking about like relationships in the workplace?
Not relationships,
Or
just
just
like
like-
somebody like fancying you, someone thinking
HR.
you're attractive.
Okay.
Something like beauty standards.
Beauty standards,
Beauty standards,
exactly.
okay.
Can I ask a question? I saw this on Twitter the other day. Are black men, like the white men, you know they say middle class white men are like the cancer of the planet. Are black men kind of in that same category in terms of being black? I'm just wondering. This is a random question out there. I'm throwing out.
No, what do you mean? I'm kind of confused.
So, you know how, like, for example, black women are like quite, you know, they are oppressed. So it's like something like a little thing about that. But I'm saying, like, do you think black men don't help that? Do you think like we could do more to help black women and black queers as well?
And is
Just
this
like,
in
you
the,
know,
is this
black
in the
gays,
workplace?
trans
Is this
women.
related to in the workplace? Yeah, let's do it.
You mean in general?
No, I'm saying so. So do you think like black men are essentially not helping the oppression that black people suffer, you know, as a whole, or
Yeah, I don't want to summarize. I don't.
It's a
I
mad
don't.
question, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I don't want to like put everyone in the same bracket. I definitely think there are some black men that could do more to uplift and support
Yeah.
black women, the black trans community, black LGBTQ plus community. But I don't think it's black men. I think everyone has a role, right? Black women, black men. We all have to kind of support and uplift each other, and also support the intersections of that. Obviously, we're talking about black women, black men. We're talking about gender, but then there's so many more pieces of that. There's religion, there's disability, there's sexuality, there's all these things. So I think it's about like
Yeah.
sometimes, and again, something that I probably didn't delve into that much in the book, but when we're talking about the black community more generally, it's about realizing we're not just a monolith. We are such a diverse.
But what about specifically in the workplace?
Mhm.
Is there also something black men can do more in the work in based on what you just said?
Mhm.
If we're talking specifically in the workplace, because from my point of view, there's not. Actually, yeah, let me let you answer. Would you?
Again, when I think about the work, and this is a very personal thing,
Yeah.
like I don't necessarily think I'm not looking to black men in the workplace to necessarily help me like rise up in that sense, just because I know it's complicated. And I think I speak about that in the book. Like when you do have black men that are in senior positions, if they are seen to be helping their community, other black people, they get penalized from it. They suffer the career consequences of that in a way that white people supporting other white people don't.
Yeah.
So I think it's tricky. So I think beforehand I would have been like, oh, black men at work need to be doing more this, and this for the sisters. But I'm actually acknowledging that, of course, if you're a black guy in a certain position at work, it would be great to have that additional support and help. But I know it's not that easy. And so I don't want to critique too much. It's hard.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You answered my question basically.
Sorry,
yeah.
another thing is, you are quite young yourself, essentially, and you've done so much. I mean, like, you were an investment banker. That's a mad thing, by the way.
I worked in operations in an investment bank. Yeah.
What was that?
I worked in operations in an investment bank.
She was operating investment banks. I'm joking. Yeah, but no.
I wish.
But no, but literally, that's like a massive achievement in itself. Because obviously, people dream about getting into this kind of situations, like companies like that. And now you are a product manager, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Thank you.
gosh, I don't know where to start. Like, is it when you came out of uni, did you know what you wanted to be? Also, you talk about the book, it's okay to change in regards to like what you want to be and what's not. But like, yeah, can you just talk us through a little bit of like what your working life has actually been like itself when you worked in investment banking and as a product manager at this moment? What is it actually like?
Yeah, I think when I was in university, I was definitely on that kind of banking path. So all of my internships were working in investment banks. I graduated, I had 2 job offers. I went for one of the banks. And I thought I wanted to be one of those like banking babes. I wanted to be part of corporate Twitter. I wanted to be shiny suit gang. I thought that was me. And then when I was
down Canary
shiny
Wharf
suit
and that,
gang,
you know what I'm
I
saying?
was literally that cringe person just being like in the city. And I thought that was me. I thought that was sick. And yeah, after a while I realized that wasn't me. I wasn't happy. I didn't really enjoy it. I worked with like amazing people, but I wasn't happy. And so I then switched into technology consulting. I think I knew I wanted to do technology. I wanted to work in something a little bit more creative. Obviously in consulting you work on different projects. So every, couple of months you'll do something different.
Sorry, can I ask you a question? Obviously, I've seen like consultants. What actually do consultants do?
Yeah, I mean it depends on like the role, right?
Yeah.
But like, you know, you work with other companies and you advise them on their issues. So they'll have an issue, and then as a consultant, you will advise them and you'll help them to implement a solution for that.
Okay.
So like a lot of the times I was working with financial services clients who, you know, had certain issues, and then they bring in a consultant to help them implement a new solution, iterate what they already had, advise them, and things like that. So yeah, and then alongside all of that, you're doing a lot of support in documentation and all that kind of stuff.
And obviously, I'm going to be pinging right now because I've got like so many questions I want to ask you and not enough time. But for example, like one thing I've noticed about you just during this whole process right now is you're very good at speaking. Like I know you're very confident, you know.
I try.
But I'm just saying, is it like something that was installed in you from your parents or whatever, or just in general? How like, you know, we get older, people get weathered down with life. You know, you humble yourself a little bit. I'm not saying you need to humble. I'm just saying like you're very like. I'm happy to listen to you talk. I can ask you a question about like, is the sky really blue, or is it because the way I see it? Do you know what I'm saying? But
yeah, I don't know. I think, well, you guys have been like making me feel real comfortable. So really good.
You sure?
Yeah.
So if
Sure.
you're all for whatever you're doing, come on here for some good chat. I'm probably enjoying it, so that definitely helps. I would say like different environments bring out different sides of me. I can be introverted.
Okay.
I can be kind of, you know, oh my God, like I can be quite shy to an extent. But I feel like I know when to turn up.
Yeah.
I know when in certain situations I can't be introverted, shy Rene. Like I need to be on job. I need to communicate a message. And yeah, I think I'm quite an energetic person anyway. And I think I'm just someone. I think even writing a book, I always say to myself, if I don't do something, it's not going to get done. And
what's
so
your star sign as well?
I'm a Scorpio.
Yep. I see it still. I see it. I see it still. Hey, geez, bro. The Scorpios do things, bro. They just do things.
I don't know about all that, but yeah.
Wow.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. Anyway.
Moving on from the star signs.
Moving on from the star sign.
Yeah.
Talking about work life. There's a section where you say we are not gang,
Yeah.
right? Because you found that within your work life there were certain people that had a weird vibe. Was that it? And you described it as.
Is it
I want to know what
same
this
people,
vibe
like
is.
black card people?
Is it like I'm the only one in the village kind of thing? You know, like where.
This is what she's gonna answer.
All right, let me.
So it says, you said you couldn't relate to some of the middle class and upper class black colleagues because they give off Kemi Badonot and Quasi
And they're Tory youths.
Yeah.
Yo.
What are these vibes?
Yo.
What are the bad vibes that you was
I
getting?
feel like
better than
I
now.
think the thing I wanted to touch upon in the book, and I said this to some school kids as well, was that being black in the workplace, there's an assumption that all black people, we're gonna just point at each other and be like, you're black, I'm black, we're brethren, boom, that's it. And it just was gang. And unfortunately, like, you think when you join the workplace, it's gonna be one workplace, black, Afro-Caribbean society, ACS, and unfortunately, it's just not always vibes.
Yeah.
Like I said before, we're a diverse community, right? We're not all the same. Not all black people like, I don't know, Afro beats and bashment, and some black people like different things. Some black people have different religions, they're different sexualities. We know that within the black community, black people that are straight are sometimes not accepting of black people that are LGBTQ. Various different things, different political beliefs, right? So I could go on. And so bearing that in mind and how diverse our community is, sometimes you get into the workplace, you find that although you want to connect and have that bond with other black people, we're not this. We're very similar. We're not similar. And so, and I was saying this to some school students, finding your tribe or your community in the workplace, or even when you go to university or whatever space you're in, it doesn't always mean connecting with other black people.
Yeah.
It's about just connecting with people
100%.
who have your best interest at heart. So I think there was that realization for me in the workplace when I came in, coming from, you know, I would say, like a lower class background, like very normal background. I kind of like saw that there were people, other black people that came from more middle class, upper class backgrounds, kind of Tory conservative vibes, and they just weren't my people, and that was okay. And I just had to accept that we're not gang, and we shouldn't necessarily have that expectation. And
What is Tory?
Wait, sorry, can I just quick cut before you so what's your question?
What are those vibes? They're like just
I'm not even.
Sorry, like, you know when you go in the workplace and you do the nod, like.
They don't even give you the black nod. They don't even know the black nod. But it's just kind of like.
They're like, get out.
It's similar
Right,
vibes.
yo.
It
Let's
could
not
be like-
alienate our posh black brothers. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
exactly.
Let's
And
not
I'm
do that.
not, and that's the
But you
thing.
know what?
And that's what I mean about it's not always gang.
Yeah.
It's not me saying that because you're that black person, I'm this
Yeah.
black person. That's a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's just saying that we're so different. It just means that we're not always going to connect with other black people. And actually, even some of the white people in the workplace, they shouldn't always like force that on us or have
Yeah,
that
100%.
expectation. Like, you know.
You should meet Jerome.
Yeah, I've said that. You know,
Yeah,
you
I've
should
seen
meet
it,
so
I've
and
seen
so because it's like no, like there isn't a vibe. Like I get on better with Sarah. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, nothing against our Tory conservative brothers and sisters, but yeah, just sometimes you just don't have that vibe.
There's quite a poetic phrase here for one of my favorite artists out there, Gets. He's got a lyric for one of his songs here. He says, there ain't no brotherly love. We ain't brothers. No. There ain't no brotherly love. Just because we're the same color doesn't mean we're brothers, you cunt. That's exactly what it is. We're not gang. Just because we're the same color. That's a bit madness, but like,
Yeah.
essentially,
Yeah, 100.
there ain't no brotherly love out here.
No, it's true.
And there should be more.
It's true. You do have to find your tribe. I like that phrase. Find your tribe.
So Rene,
What? There ain't no brotherly love.
with a nice large crowd here, do you have any questions like, or matter of fact, does the crowd have any questions based on?
Can you guys hear us? Big up, John.
Come on, John.
Hey.
Toughest part of writing this book.
Yeah.
There's a few things actually. I think picking and choosing which things to talk about and which things to not, including things like chocolate king privileges, not knowing like whether I would say things that
Got heart.
that might offend people. That some, again, right, if I'm saying this is a careers but for black students and professionals, there might be some black people, there's probably a lot of black people that are like, I can't relate to this. This isn't like, you know, you're not really touching me. So I think when I was writing it, there was that part of me that was like, oh, there's going to be a group of people that necessarily can't relate to my book, or I'm going to say things that might offend some people. There might be black men that are like, what do you mean chocolate king privileges? We ain't got no privileges at work, or, you know, I can't relate to a stereotype or whatever. So picking and choosing the things I want to talk about, even my own experiences at work, being careful about, you know, the things that I choose to say and want to talk about. And I would also say getting all those contributors involved is really timely
Big up
process.
yourself still.
It's not just, you know, again, it takes months and
You said it takes months.
and
We've
you
got
have
to say
to pitch
Renee's
yourself.
black and great, by the way, because
Oh, thank you.
she's associated with the, you know,
Definition
say
of the book.
you're the 5 people average of the 5 people you keep around you. That's a mad list over there still. Big up Renee.
So what
Yeah,
did you
thank
do
you.
when? So you can find the book on Amazon, innit?
Yeah, Amazon, Waterstones, all like good bookshops. But yeah, Amazon and Waterstones, Waterstones physically in the
Yeah.
shops, and Amazon and other stuff online.
So what did you do when you opened Amazon and you saw your book on Amazon? Like, what
Oh
did,
my
how was the feeling?
Yo, I
You're
was
up.
finished. I think in the lead up to the book launch, I think I spoke about this recently. I was so nervous. I think imposter syndrome. I'm not like an online personality. Like I'm not one of those babes that can tweet something and it's gonna
Yeah.
go viral. Like in the lead up to my book launch coming out, I did have like a couple of viral moments, but I'm not an online personality. I don't have like, I don't know, clout if you want to call it that. So there was this part of me that's like, who's gonna buy my book? Like I know all my friends and family are, but like who's actually gonna like know about my book and buy it?
Still audible. Yes, I know.
So yeah, I think when I actually saw it come out and I could see it doing quite well in those first few days, I was buzzing.
How did you celebrate?
Yeah.
So I had
I've got a different question.
I had
Well,
obviously
no
the
question.
launch party, which was kindly hosted by Twitter. Ray and Nephew sponsored with drinks. Yeah, Twitter Blackbirds. Yeah,
Yo,
they hosted it.
hold on. Ray Nevy sponsored it as well.
Yeah.
So wait, so you got rated, so what, you contacted
But,
Ray
but,
and
I
overproof,
reached
you've
out
done
to.
You
that.
should have some
I
Ray and
reached
Nephew
out
on
to
the table then.
Twitter. I know.
should've.
Don't worry. Next time. Don't worry.
Okay, so you know, join a podcast next time, you know, bring the Rays, you know
No,
what
I
I'm
got you. I got a Ray.
Come on.
But no, I literally like reached out to Twitter and I reached out to someone from Black Twitter. Shout out Jess, and I actually said let's do a Twitter Spaces around the book, and she came back to me and was like, no, we can do better. We can actually host it. So massive shout out to Jess from Twitter. that
Twitter
hosted-
hosted your event. That's a
Yeah.
So
madness.
you know what? Yeah, I think it's only right we give Renee like a quick 15 seconds to sell your book to the
Wait,
cameras.
before all of that, yeah, I've got one question. Obviously, when you're writing your book, what was it like balancing writing a book and working?
I think I had to be really structured. So I would spend like maybe 6 to 9 a.m. in the morning writing the book, throughout my day, I'm obviously doing my day
So
job.
in the morning.
Yeah. And then after work, I might spend an extra hour or two. And then on the weekends, I would like spend like chunks of time in the lead up to like the first draft of my book. I don't think I slept for 5 days.
What was your work-life balance like at the time?
It was terrible. It was
Really?
really bad. Like, I literally was like, spending all day, every day. Like everyone around me kept saying like, have a rest. And I was just like, no, I've got deadlines. I've got things to like get done.
It's a bit inappropriate, but obviously, if at the time, did you have a partner?
Yeah, I have a partner.
How was that like? Obviously, you're doing
Juggling your
big
relationship
things.
and
Yeah.
work and all that kind of
You know
stuff.
what I'm saying?
No, Joe, he was like super supportive. Like massive shout out to Anthony. Like
Big up
proper,
Anthony.
Big up Anthony, yeah.
Bow.
Hella supportive. Yeah, massively supportive. Like he understood there were times when I'm just be like, oh, I can't do X, I can't do Y, I can't go here because I focus on my book. Or even my friends, big up my whole friendship group.
Large them up.
All of them really supportive of times where I'm just like, guys, I'm ghost.
I think we're about to wrap up, but I think we need to give Rene like a good 30 seconds to sell your book and why
my
people
God,
like
pressure.
tell them where to put your socials, where to find it, why they should get your book.
Yeah, so Black and Great, the Essential Workplace Toolkit is a career book for Black students and professionals featuring chapters written by myself and featuring interviews and open letters from some of Britain's leading Black British voices, including Beverly Knight, Alex Boateng, Dr. Nira Chamberlain, K.O. Deyawumi, JB Gill from JLS, and so many more people. You can buy my book in store at Waterstones or online at Amazon or on all other bookstores.
She's got a great Audible, by the way. It's read by her.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel like
But
I know her now.
and just so everyone knows, this is our very first live event. This is our very first event with a guest,
Yes.
and we do plan on having more.
And Renee
more-
smashed it, by the way.
Yeah, she smashed it. We do plan on having more studio podcasts with Renee again, maybe if she's down. With more guests.
Proposition her right now on camera. So Renee,
I'm
we join us
down.
again.
You're down, yeah. And you can find us again at the Mandem Read.
The Mandem Read on Instagram.
Yeah.
The Mandem
On
Read
YouTube.
The Mandem Read Facebook.
Mm.
What else have we got?
TikTok. We got Blessing doing dances on TikTok.
Are you going to be doing TikTok dances with your book?
Yeah, with the books, he's doing dances on it.
I want to rebuttal, but I'm not smart enough. So it's alright. I'll let it go.
Leslie's got a new dance. But yeah, I think that's a wrap then.
That's a wrap, innit? Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for
Thanks,
coming.
guys.
No,
That's such a
Renee,
good
thank you so
time.
much for
Pleasure.
taking your time out to be with us, by the way. We really
No,
appreciate
always big up yourselves. Big up.
Thank you very much.
it. You're
you
such
very
great
much.
company.
And we're good.
It was
We got-
so